Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my best daily game I've probably ever played in my life. 84% accuracy, 1050 rating, 1 brilliant, 4 great moves. Welcome to the game. So, let me give you some context for this game. My friend in school, Dimples the Cat, is his chess username. I'm not going to say his real name, obviously. We have been playing some daily games a lot. There are some I've drawn, and a lot I've won. And today we are going to go over one we just played and got done with. And I played a brilliant move. All right. So let's just get started. So, pawn to e4. Oh my god, pawn to e4. That's such a common move. I thought a game with a brilliant would have such a better move. Shut up. If you're saying that right now, shut up. All right. Look, e4 may not be the most exciting move, but it's the most common move. All right. It's the most common move to start a game. All right. So who cares? Pawn to e5, knight f3. I play them. This is usually the main thing that happens. And now we have the Petrov's defense. The Petrov's defense has an idea. It is to have white take this pawn, and then play d6 or play queen e7. And when the knight jumps out of the way, you play knight takes e4, and then usually they might counterattack, but that's a wasteful move because the queen's defending it, or they will play d3. And oh, that's not a good move. That's not a good move because discover check. Um, yeah, that's not a good move because discover check. That's what that threatens right there. So, um, you be careful of that. So I think it goes like bishop e2. I think that's like main line. Anyways, so that's usually the main idea is to try to trick them into doing that. Instead of that, my opponent recaptured, and then I played queen e2. This is usually the main line, or it's usually what people do. They usually do this. And then he played queen e7, attacking my knight. And I defended my knight. However, they played d6. This is usually the main idea of the Petrov, is to sack a knight for d6 so that you win that knight guaranteed. I played d4 defending, which means now um, when when they take, I can take back, they can take, and it's just a draw, even though I'm up a pawn. That, of course, did not happen. Um, well, it could have, but if it did, then this video probably would not exist. My opponent instead played g6, which is a miss. As you can see, the eval bar immediately goes up, and there's a reason for that. You should not play g6. I think the idea was if I, like, I don't know, like, I guess defended the knight with what? How would I defend the knight? If I went maybe bishop f4, then they would go here, attacking my queen. Um, I don't know if that was the idea. But instead of that, the brilliant move happens. And honestly, I was calculating this, and I didn't know if it was gonna work. I played bishop g5. Brilliant move. Hits the queen. Now, why is this brilliant? Why is this brilliant? Well, after the queen takes, best move, you play bishop to b5 check. Why do you do that? Because the king cannot go up. The king can go here, but then you get discover check, or you can play this discover check. I actually don't know which one is the best, but point is you can play discover check. It's one of these. Actually, it's this discover check. Yeah, and then you just win the queen. So if they go there, if they go king d8, you play. Oh, that's not the best move. I don't actually. It's not giving me the line. Hang on. It's actually mate in one. Fun fact. If they go there, knight takes f7 checkmate. That's why they cannot go there. So they have to block with c6, which is what happened in the game. There's also the knight could block or the bishop could block, but then if the bishop blocks, you can maybe do this, but that's not a really good. That's actually equal. And this is supposed to be winning, obviously. So bishop to b5 check. C6, and I sack the knight. Why did I sack the knight? Because it's discovered check. They can't actually take. So they went king d7. I took on a7, and then they went knight c6. Now, in this line, there's a line that goes king c7, and in this position, you can play knight to c3. Literally, you can play knight to c3, and it will evaluate as brilliant. Look at that. Why? Well, if they take, you go here. They have to sack their queen because the only square they have for their king is here, and if they do that, it's checkmate. So they have to literally sack their queen. So yeah, knight c3 can be played. My opponent unfortunately did not do that. I wish they did, or else this would have been even more impressive of a game. Instead, they blocked with the knight. I took with the bishop. They took back. I took with the queen. They went king d8, which is a mistake. You should have gone king e7, and you actually can't take that rook because of this. But instead, they made a mistake. They went to the back rank, and I played queen takes a8. Now, there is this, which is actually the best move. And then you just take this rook. But you still lose this bishop, so yeah. My opponent did not play that and played bishop h6, trying to maybe threaten checkmate. But that doesn't really work um, because I just take the bishop. They went king e7. I went knight c6 check, king f6, and then I went f4. F4 is my first inaccuracy of the game, and I should have just taken this rook in the corner with check, but I did not do that because I was afraid. I actually didn't see that the rook was hanging. I totally forgot about it. So I saw that I had no checks. I panicked and played f4. That happens sometimes. You can panic and play moves that you don't mean to play. It's okay. Uh, my opponent played queen takes f4, which is also an inaccuracy, and I played rook f1, which is a miss. The reason why this is a miss, I should have just taken the rook like always. But instead I played rook to f1, thinking the queen's pinned. That's why I sacked that pawn. But I realized my opponent can take, take, and take, and now I'm only up 5 points of material. I was up plus 11, by the way. But I'm still winning. So I went knight b4, rook b8, c3, h5, knight a3, h4, and now I played knight to c6. Not a good move. I should not have played that. I should have played knight to d5 check, forking these pieces, kind of, but it's not really a fork. It's basically to force a trade of pieces. I instead went knight c6, attacking the rook. And my pawn down here was undefended, so they took it, obviously. And then I went h6, giving up another pawn and actually giving up the game. The entire game was given up in one move, guys. I gave up the entire game in one move with h6. And he took advantage of it. Took the pawn. Now it's a draw. I was winning, and I completely mistaked the draw. But it was not over. Rook d1. Rook takes a2. Knight b5. h2, or rook h2. Rook d3. Bishop g3 check. King d1. As you can see, black is slightly better now. Rook takes h3. d5. Another inaccuracy. Now I'm losing, guys. I'm losing. I should have played c4, but I played d5. Then they played rook h1 check. They really took advantage of this game. Dimples did. King e2, and then rook g1. And in this position, I pulled the Gotham chess and sacrificed the rook. Now, it's a draw, right? And I realized this. I realized that I wasn't going to be winning. However, I realized this pawn would be hanging if I took this. So you got to look for tactics, right? So that's why I took the bishop. I pulled the Gotham chess, I sacrificed the rook, they took, and then I took. This guarantees me a draw. I knew I had a draw in my hands, and I knew that, hey, if I'm not going to win, I might as well guarantee myself a draw. And black is still technically better, but it's actually kind of hard to prove that. Stockfish obviously is smarter than me, so Stockfish sees that. But King G5 was played after I sacked the rook. I went knight takes f7 check. They sacked the pawn for some reason, and then they went King G4, giving the game up. They should have gone King f4 or I think King H4, no, King H4 is still losing. They only had one good move, and it was that. It was King F4. And in this position, after knight C E5 check, not the best move. I should play D6. Then went King H3, and that gave up the game because of knight G5 check. Why? Well, if you go here, you get forked. If you go here, I just push. I sack both knights. You try to take them, I just queen. And even though you've taken two knights, you're still losing. They went King G2, and I went D6. They went Rook F1, I went D7. And Rook F8's an inaccuracy. Why? Because I captured a free pawn. They tried to stop my pawn, but I played 95. Great move, defending the pawn. And then they went King H2. Inaccuracy. Should play Rook A8. And then I played Knight GF7. They went G2, threatening to queen. I played Knight takes D8, letting them queen. Why? Because after they queen, I fork. Simple. King G2. I take, recaptures, Knight F7, King H1, D8 queen, Queen G5 check, King H3, C4. And the reason I played C4 here was to force them to play King H2 so that I could get a forced checkmate. So I get here, boom, Knight G4 check, King G1, and Queen H2 checkmate. 1050 rating. The opening accuracy was 100%, middle game accuracy 91, end game accuracy 79.5. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how I played my best daily game that I've ever played. Now, how come I blundered? Um, the reason I blundered was because with Rook F1, I should not have played Rook F1 because I was completely winning. I just forgot that the Rook could be taken. That's the reason why I played F4. I totally forgot that it was hanging, so that is completely my fault. I take full credit for blundering that, but unfortunately, even though my opponent got the better of me, I still was able to get the win back. Because when I played knight c6, realizing that I hung the pawn, I should have played the fork, but I didn't. And then I ended up giving up the game for a draw. But in the end, it was my Gotham chess brain that sacked the rook and realized that he had walked the king too far forward and given me the ability to make a queen, fork him, and deliver checkmate. Now do me a favor and get out of here.